All right, everybody, welcome to the DUC here on the campus of Pacific. Zach Bayrity, joined by head men's basketball coach Leonard Perry, ahead of the WCC tournament. LP, how you doing, man?
How are you, Z?
I'm doing well. And the Tigers head to the tournament. Actually, from the time we're recording this tomorrow, you travel down, have a couple of days in Vegas, and then the team plays at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday at the Orleans Arena. They'll take on Pepperdine, and we'll get into all that in a moment. But first and foremost, 7 wins in league, tied for 5th. That's, I think, 7 more wins than a lot of people thought that you guys might get this year. It was by many standards, as far as the perspective of other people, an overachievement this year. I know you probably wish there were a couple more wins in there, but just in a vacuum, 7 wins in this league in a year where it's wide open, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was outstanding, actually, Zach. 7 wins. It's the 3rd most that we've had in the WCC, period. So we're tied there for the 3rd most wins since we've been in this conference, which is really huge for us. We had a lot of firsts this year. With 7 days to go, 8 days to go in the league, we're playing for the 4th seed at LMU. That one got away from us. Going into the very last game against Portland, a team which we've had 0 success with since I've been the head coach for a little over a year. We were able to win that game, and all the way up until that night at about 10 o'clock, we're still playing for the 6th seed. So ended up with the 7th seed, but we're tied for 5th overall. We have the same conference record as San Francisco and BYU. Just an unbelievable accomplishment based on where the experts had us picked. I'm really proud of our kids and the progress that they made throughout the year. We've had some tremendous wins, and the season's far from over.
It is. Where did your team start to turn the corner? Because you go back to December and had some tough losses at home. There was a stretch there where it got a little bit dicey, but in league you start with that loss versus BYU, which was just a calamity trying to get ready for that game. That was right after Christmas. Southwest had all the the flight mix-ups and the backlog. So you had a lot of kids not get to campus until, the last minute prior to that BYU game. You rebound with a win against LMU. Obviously, they had an outstanding year, Loyola Marymount. But where did this team start to turn the corner?
I think we're still turning it. We still haven't clicked on all cylinders. We have for stretches of games. We put together a really good game, a bounce-back game against LMU after you mentioned the BYU situation where our last guy didn't get back until maybe 3 hours before tip-off in the BYU game. So it's part of it. It's part of our journey, and we bounce back and we play really well, and then we turn around and we have a stretch or two where we have games where we don't quite finish it off, and that happened to us throughout the year. But I'm proud of how we competed. We put ourselves in situations where we're right there at BYU right before halftime. We got the game right where we needed, and then we miss a block out, and they go on a run right before half.
The last 5 minutes was tough.
Last 5 minutes, we get a really good Gonzaga team here in the best atmosphere I've seen since I've been here, and we're tied at half, and we fight all the way to the very end, the bitter end, and it gets away from us, I think, with 2 minutes to go, and we can't quite close the gap. But our kids played tremendously well, and they proved to themselves that when they're focused and they're locked in, we're pretty good.
I have an idea in my head where this team started to turn a corner. You said they're still turning, which I for sure agree with, but where it started, I think, were those back-to-back road wins at San Diego and at Pepperdine.
Yes.
Because I think it's tough to go on the road, and not many people understand just how tough it is to go on the road, especially in this league, and win back-to-back games. And to do that, on a Southern California swing where you had a long bus ride from San Diego to Pepperdine, 2 completely different gyms, completely different environments. I thought that was really impressive.
Those are huge. My kids have been resilient all year on the road. We have the best road record, along with we had the most road wins in the WCC, along with Gonzaga. No one has more than 7. Gonzaga has 7, we have 7. So our kids have been great on the road. You're right, Zach. Those were 2 monumental wins for us. Got us off to a 2-0 league start, and our kids really believed that they could beat anybody in our conference. And I was proud the way they battled. Those are tough games. We were down in both at different points during those games, and we got it together and pulled it out in the end. There have been some other teams in our league that tried to do the same thing, couldn't get it done. I believe BYU was one at Pepperdine, could not get that done. They lost one in Portland. I know for sure lost in double overtime at
funky
Pepperdine.
ending there.
Yeah, really did. So difficult place to win, super talented team. And the thing I have to keep reminding ourselves is we have the second youngest team in the league. Pepperdine's the youngest. We're the second. And our kids are still figuring it out. But I think, you mentioned this, I think after maybe St. Mary's game that we want to be playing our best basketball towards the end, and I still think that carrot's right in front of us.
Tell us about the style that Pacific likes to play. And folks that haven't watched a lot of Pacific basketball might not know this, but I mean, this team thrives playing a very up-tempo style, and it was an eye-opener. I know you weren't on the trip, you were obviously watching close, but to start the year in North Dakota, unfortunately you were under the weather, couldn't make that trip, but those 2 wins at North Dakota State and at North Dakota, I'm like, wow, man, this team can score 90-plus points a night, and not only can they, but that's the type of style that you guys want to play. Can you tell us why that style works for you?
Well, I think you know a little bit about me, Zach. That's not the style I was raised on.
Correct.
I'm a defending and rebounding guy. If you'd have told me we were going to have a program where we're 4th in scoring in the WCC and Gonzaga's in the top tier in the country, top 2 or 3 teams in scoring, and we're 4th, I'd have said, I'm not sure. I believe that. We're 4th in assists, in our conference. We happen to have a collection of young men that can put the ball in the basket. And as much as I want to defend and rebound, the thing that they've taught me is that at the end of the day, you need one more point than your opposition and you get a win. And it's a fun style of play. We get up and down the floor. When we're running, we're good. When the ball's moving, we're really good. And they've taught me that this is a style of play the kids like to play. Kids don't like to play a walk it up, grinded, upper 40s, lower 50s type of game. The game is positionless. We have a group of kids that are that. And I think our fans, faculty, students, and staff love watching our kids play. I get emails all the time about how much fun they are to watch play. So we're going to play that way. We're going to get up and down the floor. And to the old Hugh Watson adage, Leonard, he used to say, old coach of mine used to say, we're going to dribble it high and let it fly. So that's what we've been doing, and we've been successful with it. I'm happy with it, and I think our kids love playing that style of play.
In order to play that style, you have to have a good floor general, a good facilitator. And we could highlight a lot of different players on this team, but I want to talk specifically about Mo Odom because he's a true freshman. Not only a true freshman coming from across the country, he's from the Bronx. New York kids kind of hit different, and Mo has not been intimidated by a lot of the environments in this league, and he's one of the best assist people in the country.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Mo and his growth this year?
Well, the first thing I like to say to him is congratulations. I'm really happy for him. He made the all-freshman team in the WCC. When at the beginning of the year, the preseason deals come out, we had no players that were on preseason anything in the WCC. So I'm really proud of him. Fantastic young man. And I tell people all the time, when I meet with him, I go, Mo, we have these conversations. These are the things that I need you to do better. And when he looks at me in bewilderment, I always look back at him and go, all I'm asking you to do is be perfect. Just be perfect, you'll be fine.
Easy as that.
Yeah, just easy as that. Just be perfect, don't make any mistakes. But he's a true freshman, and for him to go He started out playing pretty decent at Stanford, played pretty well at North Dakota State, but we came home and played against some real athletic teams, and he stumbled and he stopped playing the minutes that he was getting early because the ball wasn't going in the basket, and I didn't want him to identify with just scoring. I wanted him to be a floor general. And he started buying into that, and once he bought into it full bore, he became a starter, and we put the ball in his hands, and he's ran our offense. He's really smart. He's cerebral. He keeps our tempo going. He keeps our pace going. And when he's on a fast break, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly who needs the ball where, and our kids love playing with him. They love playing with him, and I'm just so proud of him and the progress that he's made this year. And I think for years to come, he's going to be a really good player for us.
Here we're joined by head men's basketball coach Leonard Perry ahead of the WCC tournament. Now I want to delve into the tournament a bit and the first round matchup with Pepperdine.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's tough to beat a team 3 times. However, I feel like Pepperdine is a favorable matchup for your team as far as they'll allow you to get your pace and kind of play the style you want to play. And that's not to say you're guaranteeing anything, but as far as just the matchup on paper, I feel like Pepperdine has been a favorable matchup because it allows you to get your type of style game.
Yeah, Lorenzo gets his kids to really execute. Offensively, they play really fast. Mitchell, Lewis, Malat, those guys are 3 of the more talented players in our league. Lewis is, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be a lottery pick. Anytime a team has a lottery pick, that means on any given night, this guy can jump up and score 30, 40 points. So we want to get back in transition, and we've got to find a way to limit them to 1 shot. If we can do that and get out on the break, our depth has been good for us in these games against them, and we're going to need it in this game. It's a 1-shot deal. We don't get to play them Thursday and then on Saturday get another crack at it. I'm sure he's telling them they've been really close. They've had the lead in both games that we played them. It's very difficult to beat a team three times, but I'm excited for our kids. It's that time of year, and we don't get another 40 minutes. We don't have a guaranteed practice time on Friday. You have to earn that practice time, and we're going to go into practice today. We'll cover some details, and we'll be very direct with our kids, and you're going to have to fight for the next 40 minutes that you get. You're going to have to fight for it, and Pepperdine's not going to cooperate. But that being said, we have had success, and I'm looking forward to playing this game on Thursday. I think our kids are looking forward to it, and all we want to do is have another game on Friday. That's all I don't care who we're playing on Thursday. We just want to play on Friday.
I think it speaks to the depth of the league. You have a team you're playing, finished 10th in Pepperdine, and that team has an NBA lottery pick potentially.
Yes.
And I think therein, it tells people a lot about the WCC and even the teams that are quote unquote at the bottom. Yeah. They got dudes, man. They got dudes.
They have very, very good players. San Diego has a guy who's got over 1,000 points, over 1,000 rebounds. Everybody has really, really good players. St. Mary's is playing with a first-round draft pick. Gonzaga's always got first-round draft picks. BYU's talented. San Francisco's got 2,000-point scores. I think 3, but 2,000-point scores for sure. And then Santa Clara's got another first-round draft pick.
Kapajewski.
Yeah, he's going to play in the NBA. So the goal is for us to keep improving, and get our guys to develop in the right way, and then we're going to have a draft pick here soon if we keep doing what we're doing.
Lastly, LP, I know to win that game on Thursday, you probably want to see your guys score at a high clip, but what else has to happen to get that win on Thursday?
We've got it, Zach. We've got to get back in transition. We've got to get back in transition. We've got to stay in front of Lewis, and we can't let Mitchell, and most importantly, Porter's been playing fantastic. He can't have 25 and 12 rebounds. That'll break our backs. It'll be very important for us to try to contain them as best we can because Porter's playing really, really well. Zedek is playing really well. He's shooting the ball now for him. He was 3 of 4 from 3 in their last game. So we've got a certain way we have to play defensively, and we got to take care of the basketball. If we do that, and we get the ball up the floor and we're sharing it, and we've got 15 or more assists, I like our chances.
It's Leonard Perry, coach. Looking forward to seeing your team play at the tournament on Thursday.
Thanks,
Good luck.
Zach. Appreciate it.
All right, welcome back to our WCC tournament preview. Now on the women's side of the bracket, joined by women's head coach Bradley Davis. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations on a great finish to the season. Your team has won 6 of its last 8 games. Really impressive, finishing up with a win over St. Mary's. What's transpired over the last few weeks that has been the catalyst for your team's success?
I think we found a little bit of a rhythm, I thought, early on, especially once we hit December. We kind of got out of rhythm. We had a few people in and out of lineups and some injuries and sicknesses and those kinds of things that contributed to it. But then there was also just that growth pattern of a younger team. And I don't think growth always happens in a straight line, and we definitely had some dips. But this team found some toughness. We had 2 significant losing streaks, and to end 6, going 6 of 8 on the winning side of things, I think showed a little bit of toughness and just found a little bit of rhythm on the offensive end, and then some real consistency on the defensive end.
Can you zoom out a little bit and tell us about the league from the women's side? Someone like me, I don't see it every day. I'm obviously, traveling with the men's team, but for folks not familiar with the women's side of the WCC, what's the league been like this year?
Well, it came down to Thursday and Saturday to see who would be what seed, and so that I think speaks volumes as to the parity within the league. Gonzaga and Portland were kind of up ahead of everybody else, but they've both taken shots from teams that are right there in the middle of the pack. So it's real close, and any given night, anybody can come out with a win. But there was a lot of parity all the way down to trying to figure out who the top 2 seeds would be. What order they would fall in, and then 3, 4, 5 was up in the air and still is until tonight when once Portland and Gonzaga play. Portland and BYU play, and then 6 through 10 was all jumble as well. So it's shaken out, and we'll see what tournament happens and tournament play does to it.
Okay, your team's not playing until Friday, so obviously you don't quite know the matchup yet. But what's that like going into the tournament and having to wait to see who the matchup's going to be? It's favorable for you, right? You get to watch those first round games and do some more scouting, but tell us about your process not playing until Friday.
Yeah, and that was the big thought process on Sunday, is coming up with that routine for us this week so that we stay in some sort of rhythm. At the same time, we get some rest where we've earned the opportunity to get a day's rest. We've played everybody twice now, and it's just going to wait and watch and see who comes out of that. I think it's probably going to be St. Mary's, LMU, 7-10 matchup, and see who we face. They're 2 completely different beasts and 2 really talented teams. So we'll definitely use these next couple days to prep ourselves and to work on our stuff, and a little bit on both of them. But then Thursday will be a focus on either LMU or St. Mary's once we know who it is.
We just talked to Leonard Perry and delved into the style that the men like to play, which is very up-tempo. What style have you liked to play this year?
Yeah, we've tried to be pretty up-tempo. We've had, typically we're putting 2 to 3, point guards on the floor at a time. So we feel like that speeds us up, and we can play at a fast pace. At the same time, I think this year we found an identity on the defensive end, and creating some turnovers and creating opportunities for ourselves to increase that pace. We've had success with it, and it's been good to see with this team. I think there's been a little bit more maturity in that we can win other ways if we need to, and I think we found that down this last stretch of 3 or 4 weeks.
We're going to talk to Anaya here in a bit, but tell us a little bit about the personnel of your team and some of the players that have stuck out in your mind, especially over this last run where you've won 6 of 8.
Yeah, Anaya and Liz Elliott have kind of established themselves as 2 of the best young players in this league last year, and they've continued that. And then I think over the course of this last couple months, Liz Smith has really stepped into a point guard role and an off guard role, but kind of a leader defensively, along with Sam Ashby, really having a great senior campaign and just being kind of that effort, that heart out on the floor as well. I think she's established that. And then we've just gotten great contributions from everybody, from Deaton to Schweitzer off the bench, and Cece, and then Maddie. Just the effort and intensity that she brings. We've gotten some good depth over this last few weeks. When we have had people out, in December, it didn't really work for us. But once we get into February, having a few people out here or there, people have stepped up. Eric Adams and Diamond, and we've had a bunch of people stepping up.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Anaya, 7-time Freshman of the Week last year, which is incredible, but how has she grown this year?
It's really just that maturity of knowing how to lead the team as well. I think her talent and her ability to score and has been there from the start, and I think she's added a defensive presence over the last couple months, and then just that ability to really keep the ball moving on the floor and get ball reversals and things where she's seen a little bit more of the half-court offense as well, and just an understanding of who's supposed to be where and where people are supposed to be and getting them in that spot.
Joined by head women's coach Bradley Davis, head of the WCC tournament, a member of the 100-win club. Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
That came against LMU, I believe.
I believe, yes, it did.
And what was that like for you? What was the moment like? I know you got to celebrate with the girls. What was that moment like for you?
I didn't realize we were there. Really, I knew at some point this season we would probably get it, but I wasn't really paying attention to when it was going to happen. So that moment was cold. I got a good cold shower from the group. But
it's one time you don't mind one, right?
Exactly. No, it was fun. Maybe it's just means I'm old and I've been here for a while to get 100 wins in one spot. I know the other two and worked with one of the other 100 game winners, and so it's fun to get there and fun to be a part of Pacific. I've loved being here. I still love being here. So to make a mark a little bit feels good.
How have you evolved as a coach? I know it can be a multi-layered question.
Yeah, quite a bit. You learn real quickly that you don't know everything, and I've realized as a coach my first responsibility is to bring in good people. So great players, but also great coaches, great staff, and then when you do that, you trust those coaches, you trust that staff to do their role, different role, greater role. So I think this year especially, I've grown in giving up some opportunities for coaches to have their voice and to be an active part and own part of this club and this program as well. So I think my involvement's been one of understanding that, hey, we've got good people around, let's let good people do good work. And I've been real fortunate to work with a lot of great coaches here, and some that have been like Amy Starr and Amanda Brown that have been here for a long time.
How refreshing has it been for you to see the visibility of the women's game heightened over the last couple of years? I think that's something that really has come to the forefront, where the women's game has been very much on display, and in many instances front and center, especially as it pertains to the national networks. But from a head coach at a women's program, how nice has that been for you?
I think women's basketball is just growing and growing. I mean, obviously, COVID hit everybody a little bit, but the women's basketball game and notoriety you've seen it on social media and in the growth and the people that are interested and invested in the sport. It's a great sport. I think you're also seeing it in NIL deals with women's basketball student athletes that are marketable and have value. And it's been fun to watch that growth, to be a very, very small part of a sport that's just growing and growing.
I know you don't know the matchup yet in the tournament on Friday, but from a broad perspective, what's your team going to have to do in order to have success, whoever the matchup is on Friday?
Yeah, you go into a tournament setting and you've got to do the things that got you there. And I think defensively, we have to stay dialed in in the ways that we have been. I think we need to get good guard play, and then you got to rebound. No one's going to be perfect. You're in a neutral site, and a gym you're not used to being in. So you have to be able to rebound and create opportunities and possessions for you as much as you can.
Lastly, I know I was able to delve in with Leonard as far as the matchup for Pacific on the men's side with Pepperdine. It's a favorable matchup on the men's side, I think, just stylistically. But
Yeah.
is there a matchup that would be favorable for your team, just from a style standpoint?
Oh, I don't know. You don't want to ever get into that.
I know it's a loaded
one
question,
thing.
but I had to
Yeah, it's
ask.
one of those, of course.
Because I don't know. I mean, I asked Leonard, I got to ask you.
That's one of the things. Be careful what you wish for. The LMU's got. They both have some really talented players. One of the best shooters in the league, if not in the country, over at St. Mary's, and one of the best point guards in the league over at LMU, and some real athletic forwards. So it's pick your poison kind of thing. Two very talented teams, and it'll be interesting to watch and see how they do.
Women's head coach Bradley Davis, part of the 100 Win Club. Coach Davis, looking forward to watching your team. I'll be calling those games.
Appreciate it.
in Vegas,
Yes, love
so
it.
I
will
can't
see
wait
you
to
afterwards.
see your team.
Yeah, we'll see you after each game.
Yeah, good luck, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, we're joined by Anaya James of the women's basketball team ahead of the WCC tournament. We're the DUC here at Pacific. Anaya, thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Congratulations on a great run for your team. You've
Thank
won
you.
6 of the last 8. Tell us about the last 8 games. You're winning 6 of the last 8, and from your perspective, what's been the catalyst for change and success for you guys?
I think we've just really bought into our roles and just played together, stuck together. I was actually injured and was out for a couple of the games, and I think my teammates really they stepped up. It was really all about defense, honestly. Being able to stop the other teams, keeping them under a certain amount of points, just buying into our roles and just playing together and really having fun at the end of it.
What was it like being injured and having to watch? I'm sure it was kind of torturous for you.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. I just made sure I encouraged my teammates, just talked to them throughout it, just made sure I was just there for them.
Tell us about buying into defense. I talked with Coach Davis just a moment ago, and he alluded to how good you guys have been playing defensively. But tell us about what it takes from a player perspective to buy in as a team to playing well on the defensive end of the floor.
Well, I think it starts in practice, making sure we're disciplined and holding each other accountable in practice, just making each other work. It really just starts in practice, and then that will translate to the games. Yeah.
I feel like also good defense translates to good offense, and I'm sure that rings true for.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to watch you guys a lot, but I'm sure it rings true for your team.
Yeah, getting stops. I mean, we're a transition team, so if we're able to get rebounds and get stops on defense, that will, initiate our offense. It allows us to push the ball in transition.
How big is it for the team to have that bye on Thursday? You won't play until Friday in Vegas, but how big is it not only to rest, but be able to watch those games on Thursday and to scout and to see who the matchup's going to be?
Yeah, scouting is really important, so this bye will be very important for us. We'll be able to watch the teams play, and sorry.
Is there a matchup you think might be favorable?
Well, what do you mean by that?
I don't know, like the style that you play, the teams that you've seen. Is there one team that maybe stands out as being, for example, the men are going to play Pepperdine, and I think that's favorable for the men because Pepperdine allows them to play fast. But is there a team that allows you guys to get your tempo and your style?
I just feel like everyone shows up, anyone can show up at any time, and we just have to be ready for any team. That's how it's been this whole season with the WCC. Anyone can beat anybody. I don't know, I just think we have to be ready for whoever.
I was going to say, what's it like to play in this conference on the women's side? I get to watch the men's side every game, but I don't get to see the women's side. So tell us about this league on the women's side, what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very competitive. Santa Clara beat Gonzaga. Everyone's just, it could really be anybody. Yeah.
As far as getting to Vegas in that process, I think at the end of the year, I know from the men's perspective, it's kind of a neat reward and a neat place to go play the end of the year and play in that tournament. You guys look forward to going to Vegas as like a destination to showcase in this tournament?
I mean, we're really excited. We just know that we all need to work hard in order to, make a good run in this tournament. Every game isn't guaranteed. So we're really excited. We just want to have fun and just play together.
Joined by Anaya James, a sophomore from Inglewood, What's it been like to be up here in Stockton and play at UOP?
It's very different from back home, but I've enjoyed it my first 2 years here. Last year was definitely a big adjustment coming out here to Northern California, but it's been fun. I mean, my teammates and my coaches, they just feel like family. So yeah, it's been cool.
It was an adjustment last year, but you won Freshman of the Week 7 times, which is pretty impressive. What was last year like for you on the court, and how were you able to transition, making that jump from Southern California to Northern California, and also at the same time able to have that success on the court?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I went into it just wanting to have fun. I mean, it was an adjustment from high school to college. Like, the players are much bigger, faster. But I think, in practices and stuff, like, my coaches prepared me for it, and I just went out and just had fun.
How have you grown this year? You've averaged 11.1 points a game. You fill up the stat sheet on the boards too, four rebounds a game, just over 4 rebounds a game. But how has your game grown from year 1 to year 2?
I think I've been, talking a lot more this year, using my voice. Scoring-wise, I feel like I'm kind of in a slump, but I just try to look for other ways to contribute. Everyone else has been stepping up, and that's what we really need. But, I'm just here having fun, just with my teammates,
What's it been like to play for Coach Davis?
I feel like me and Coach Davis are really similar in some ways. We're both, really mellow and, laid back, but he also knows how to push me when I need to be pushed. It's just great playing with him.
I watch his demeanor on the sideline, and I think mellow is a great way to put it. You see a lot of coaches that get real fiery, but even in the moments, where there might be frustration, I feel like he's subdued in those moments. But it's cool to hear that he knows still how to push and to motivate. What do you think as far as the field going into the WCC tournament? Is there a team that you would like to see again, that you have your sights set on, and you're like, man, if we could play this team again, I'd like another crack?
I don't really have a particular team. It would probably be nice to play San Diego again since we lost to them twice, but I'm ready for everybody, yeah.
What's the team going to have to do to have success? Even though I know you don't know the matchup, what are they going to do to have success, in order to have success in Vegas on Friday night?
My team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think it really just starts with defense. I mean, if we're locked in on defense, it'll translate to offense, and I think we'll be okay. Yeah.
Nia James, good luck in the WCC tournament.
You.
Look forward to seeing you in Vegas.
Thank you.
Got it.